Hey guys, it's Dave, and in the last orchid video I did, I mentioned that I wanted to get up to the Eastern Iowa Orchid Society show, and I did. Kathleen and I went up Saturday, 500 orchids in flower, many of them fragrant, in one hotel conference room. It was spectacular. The displays were absolutely gorgeous. There were plants that I own, plants that I recognize from online, and then as you can imagine with 25 to 30,000 orchid species out there, many I'd never even heard of. It was just so much to take in. But the first priority was to buy some for my collection. I showed some self-control. I only came home with 7, and I went specifically to find a species miniature. And I found a dandy. And that miniature is the Dendrobium laevifolium. Really long-lasting flowers, like 4 months in good conditions. And grows right out of the base, as you can see a couple flowers coming on there. I'm going to give you a little culture information on each of these 7 orchids. You can decide if there's something you see here that you want. Will it grow well in your conditions, or can you amend your conditions to grow it well enough? But this is an interesting one. If you go to American Orchid Society or the nurseries that grow these, the information is pretty codified. Ironically, I got an email from Hawaii, an Hawaiian nursery, that gave some very conflicting advice. I'll get to that in a second. This is a species orchid that wants to grow on the warmer side. In winter, I'm going to be able to supplement its warmth, especially on such a small plant, but I've got a plan for some of these warm-loving plants. In the summer, it'll be no problem at all. I just have to keep showing you how cute this is. I love the miniatures. The one outlier for this was that Hawaiian nursery who said this is a cold grower and it's mandatory to have a 55-degree night to get this to bloom in the winter. You won't find that anywhere else. So I like to look at a couple, 3 different places when I've got an orchid that I don't know anything about, just to make sure there's a consensus, and just ignore an outlier like that. I'm sure they just confuse that with some other orchid. Now, Orchids Limited, orchidweb.com, that you've heard me talk about quite often, they don't often say must. They'll say, we grow this in sphagnum moss to reduce labor, but it grows well and fine to medium bark, that kind of stuff. They say must be grown in sphagnum moss. And when they say must, I assume they mean for home growers, because this is being grown in bark and there's some sphagnum in there. These have the reputation, and tell me if I'm wrong if you know this plant, of not liking to have the roots disturbed. So my thought on this, because it never wants to go dry, I'm telling you what I've learned, not from what I've experienced. It does not ever want to go completely dry. You lose leaves or even the plant. So my thought was I could put this in sphagnum moss and just plant it, like when you plant a cattleya and just take the whole pot and put it in another pot, water from the center out, and maybe that would do well. Let me know what you think. I came up with that on my own, so it's probably a damn good idea. Perhaps. One last quick look. I am just so delighted that I found this. It's not fragrant, but again, 8 months out of the year flowering, that's incredible. I was so happy to snatch this. There were 2, and I met some of you at the show, and if you recognize me and introduce yourself, thank you so much. One specific person I was talking to, I was completely distracted because I was keeping my eye on this. I should simply have said, may I just go grab that plant, and then resumed our conversation. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer. By the way, that laevifolium likes it on the brighter side of life as well as the warmer and humid side of life. What a choice for me to bring home. Warm and humid. We'll get through it. I have a plan. It's going to be in an upcoming video. All right, another dendrobium. This one has what they call the antelope flowers, and this is an unnamed cross between Penang Little Magic and Touch of Gold. And it can bloom repeatedly off of these canes like many of these dendrobium can. It's a really subtle and incredibly gorgeous flower, and I am drawn to subtleties. I think that's why I like some of the miniatures. Those just have a real, as Howard's Orchids says, Howard, a real elegance to them. I think so does this. You know, I don't like pinwheel cattleyas and just multi colors like it's cotton candy from the fair kind of thing. You know, I'm really just not a fan of that. But for me, this mix of fall colors and these wild flowers, that really does it for me. Really, really pretty. This one has the 2 large canes here, and then it has 3 more on the way. So bang for buck. This was $35. I'd say another great find. It's just beautiful. Easy to grow plant. I'm having real good luck with mine. It gets medium to high light. I don't ever let the roots completely dry out, and that's it. That's all I provide it. So number 2, another beautiful dendrobium. This is an unnamed cross between Procativola, key lime stars, 1010-2, and Brassicatlia Richard Muller H&R. I assume that's the nursery in Hawaii. I don't know that for sure. Almost open, not quite there. They had a sample of this that I wish I would have taken a picture of. It was very striking at the time. Can I remember exactly what it looks like? No, I cannot. It was absolutely gorgeous, so I snapped this up. What I have done is, you can see the little pot is in there, and I just put it in this larger pot for stability and put some bark around it, and that should do us for now. If I can find a picture of this on Instagram, I will certainly share it. But this is a really nice looking plant, and I wish I could remember what that flower looks like. I think it's pretty common advice that if you want to dip your toe into Cattleya type flowers, that you go for these Brassicatlia types. You saw a bunch in my unboxing from last week. I've got a bunch on the shelves. They're very easy to grow, medium high light, water as the substrate approaches dryness or the roots approach dryness. That's it. I mean, feed it like you normally would, but at any rate, another great plant. All right, super showstopper coming up next, but I wanted to say real quick, if you introduced yourself to me and I forgot to introduce the woman standing next to me who you were talking to, yes, that was Kathleen, my wife, and I just had a brain moment, so apologies to my wife, apologies to you. If you had told me a year ago how much I would love green flowers, I would have said you were crazy, but you have to allow room in your collection to get interested in new things. This is the Brassicatlia Waikiki Gold Leah crossed with a Procativola Key Lime Stars Pink Flush. It is unbelievable. I have photographed this front lit, back lit, side lit, in the pure dark. I mean, I just cannot get enough of this beautiful, beautiful plant. And look at the twirl on that lip. Trying to see if I'm showing that in the viewfinder. Maybe a downward angle. I'm going to put up a couple of photographs of this, whoops, so you can see it better. But what another just incredibly healthy plant. The prices were just fantastic. This one was $35. Mature plant, looking great. Oh man. And again, this is just another easy care plant. Medium bright light, water when the roots are about dry, to completely dry if you want to, and feed it like you would any other Cattleya, and just look at it. Absolutely stunning. If you've not been to a show, just as I had not, where there are going to be vendor tables, I've got some advice for you. Show up early on the first day because those tables get cleaned out quickly. People come to spend money. Number 2, sharp elbows. Take no prisoners. Next time I'm going incognito. I'm pushing people out of my way because the ladies shopping those tables, they don't play. Next up is the least expensive plant I bought. This was $22, I think. It's a Madier Paphiopedilum. It's working on being in bloom, so I will enclose a picture. I will put a picture on the screen, so it's just kind of hanging there for now. But look at all those fans. I mean, that's a nice size plant. That takes a while to get there. $22, and this is from not Nat's, but the other table. I wish I could remember the name. They were really nice, and there were 2 ladies and one very enthusiastic man, so more like me than Kathleen. Kathleen is more polite in society, and I'm more me. I only have one other path. These are known to be low light plants, like to be kept moist. That's how I'm growing my other one. It hasn't flowered yet, but it's growing very well. I bought it pretty young, headed towards flowering, but it wasn't there yet. So really nice to get one that's going to have a flower here, and these are very long-lasting flowers. So for $22, that's the price that Lowe's sells a Phalaenopsis for, you know, a full-size one. So something very different and easier to make room for. Next up isn't going to look like a whole bunch because it is in spike. And I got the last one of these that wasn't a sample. This is from the table we're just going to call Not Nat's. This really healthy plant was sold to me as Bellera Memoria Donald Yamada. The RHS currently has it, except it is Alicera Donald Yamada. This is an intergeneric hybrid between Alicera Memoria J. Yamada and an Oncidium Fort Point. And I'm going to put the pictures on the screen, and for those of you who agree with me that purple is the best color, you will know why I picked this plant. This is another in my collection low to medium light plant, and I am here for that. It is so much easier for me to group a bunch of those plants than the higher light plants. For one, the taller the plant, the closer to a top grow light, the more need for, one, to make that not as bright. I am bleaching a few of my Cattleyas, but then more the need to supplement it with some forward light. Now I am doing a couple of lighting videos coming up. Got a bunch of cool stuff from Sansi they sent me, but just medium and to low to medium, oh, so much easier to make happy. So I am just delighted. This is in bark right now. When it comes time to repot, I will be putting this in sphagnum moss, just like almost the rest of my entire collection. I almost forgot to tell you that this spike grows up to 30 inches tall, so that can make it a little bit more challenging. And finally, the only warm to hot growing orchid I now own, and probably ever will. I was trying to do my homework on this plant while I was also talking to you all, and I got distracted, put the phone away, and just grabbed this. Am I sorry about it? No, I am not. Try to get a little focus on there. This one's not quite open, obviously. This used to be the Dendrobium Phalaenopsis because those flowers do resemble Phalaenopsis quite closely. I don't think the name's been replaced. I think it's been synonymized with Dendrobium bigibbum. You tell me which name is more fun to say. So in the growing season, the culture sheets say this wants copious water, and when it's not in the growing season, you don't stop watering it, but you cut way back, even just to perhaps misting the substrate. You tell me if I'm wrong, because I haven't grown this before. And it'll be another one that I will have to take care to provide warmth and humidity for. Again, Not sorry I got it. And it might have been the second least expensive one I got. I think this was $25. And look at all the growth in here. So not disappointed about that. And I didn't look to see if this will be fragrant or not. You wouldn't expect it to be anyway if it were closed, and that doesn't disappoint. But anyway, those are the 7 new orchids I have, and I am obviously very excited about each and every one. What did you think? Favorites? Tips? Let me know, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Bye-bye.